me click this right here to see what's going on here. All right. Asking me about moderation. Um, okay. So what we're going to do today in this live stream is we're going to be doing some traditional animation. Let me back this up real quick. As you can see, I got my little squirrel guy right here. We're going to be doing the final line work and coloring on this animation. It's a nice, balmy 11 degrees outside right now, so I thought it might be kind of fun to just relax and do a little bit of traditional animation for you guys and just let you see this project that we're working on. Um, I'll play this little clip before I start doing the final line work. So here you go. Hold on, it's kind of buffering here. And if anyone's in the comments, okay, now it's going to cut to a cat after he bonks the little guy on the head. Now, obviously, this has a very Chip and Dale vibe, and that's on purpose because we're trying to give this a very classic Disney kind of vibe. And you can see right here, I've already got 2 frames done with the final inks and colors, and that's what we're going to be working on here today. So, this is just going to give you a little look behind the scenes of how animated films are made, because this is part of an animated short that myself and Jamie Costa are working on called The First Scarecrow. And it's just a little cute little story about some farmers back in the Middle Ages who are having some trouble with crows getting into all their corn. So one of them has an idea to build a scarecrow. It's a little fictional story about the first scarecrow that ever came to be. Uh, Greetings, Melon Plaid Guy. Glad to see you. Um, Anyone in the comments, they come up and go down real fast on my tablet here. And since I'm having to concentrate on inking, if I miss your comment, it's personal. It just means I didn't catch it before it went off the screen. But thanks for dropping by to tune in on this. But yeah, this little story that we're working on, it's just like a really old-fashioned little fable. We just wanted to do something really cute and innocent, something that will give you just kind of like the warm, fuzzy, nostalgic feeling that you used to get watching um, old Donald Duck and Chip and Dale cartoons and like 1960s era Disney animated films like Sword in the Stone and Sleeping Beauty. Actually, I just did a featurette on this as my video for the week last week. It's all posted on the channel. So once we're done here, you might want to check it out, and that will kind of go more into what we're doing. Yeah, someone just said this reminds him of old Disney films, and that's definitely the vibe we're going for. Because I really really miss classic hand drawn animated Disney films. I grew up, with when Aladdin and Lion King and Beauty and the Beast and all those were coming out, and that was just such an exciting time for hand drawn animation because they just made such beautiful films, and I really really wish that would come back in a big way. I know Aaron Blaze. He was a big Disney animator back in the '90s. He has his own YouTube channel where he teaches art and animation, and he's making his own animated short film called Snow Bear, and it's really really beautiful stuff. He's been working on it for years, and it's just really really beautiful animation. But yeah, you have to work on these things for a long time when you're the only guy on the team, because as you can see, it takes quite a while to get stuff done, especially when you're drawing on the computer and the pen keeps kind of going off on its own. and you have to fix weird little digital artifacts that you wouldn't be having problems with if you were drawing on paper. I do like, I will say, I do like how you can zoom in on the computer. That is one thing about drawing digital that I do enjoy. Is some of the other tools that you have at your disposal, but on a whole, I definitely prefer drawing on paper because I have much more control over the pen and I can get a much higher quality drawing. Now, this is incredibly zoomed in. We're doing this at, I think it's like 1080p HD. So these are very big drawings. Not big compared to 4K, but if you zoom out, you can see this is the whole frame. He's just hopping down on a branch here, and he's going to hop over here to look at this pie that's cooling in the window because him and his little buddy, they want a piece of that pie. Don't we all? But yeah, this is coming along really nicely, and this is what I have to do for every single frame of animation. You saw how long it took me to get all the line work in. Now I'm laying down the colors on the little guy. Let's get his nose. Oops, that's the thing. You gotta zoom in a lot of times because it's easy to hit the wrong pixel, and then everything goes wrong. I think I didn't close that eye off quite right. Hold on, bear with me, please. There. Well, I'll just color it in with this brush. That'll be easier than trying to click that with a fill bucket. But yeah, this is the tedious part. I really enjoy doing the first pass of pencil animation myself because that's where all the life comes in. You get all the personality, figure out the performance, and that's when you first see the little character start to come to life. And this part is kind of like, you have to do it, and it's fun when you start seeing a whole bunch of colored frames appear, but it can be kind of a drawn out process while you're doing it. So, but yeah, the story that we're working with here was a cool little concept that Jamie Costa came up with. It was actually originally he was just coming up with it as just a fun device to do just some line read practice with me on a video call we were doing. Just having fun playing characters and reading off lines of dialogue to each other. And it was so much fun that I thought like, man, if we kind of just rework this just a little bit as far as like the script, um it could feel very, very old fashioned and very Disney like because it was such a cute, kind of innocent subject. And I thought that would be a lot of fun. So I talked to him about it, and he was down, and the rest is history. Now we're working on this and getting a big animation thing going. Now this isn't going to be a full length movie. Um, it's going to be a little short because I, as much as I'd love to get a full movie made all by myself, you can see how long this is taking just to get a few little images of these little squirrel guys done. So trying to do a whole feature film by myself would be, well, I mean, I guess I could do it, but I'd probably be 90 by the time we'd get it done. So eventually, we are wanting to move into doing some bigger things with animation, but that's more coming down the road once we get, you know, funding and that kind of thing, to where I can hire a team to help me with this kind of stuff, and then we'll have some real fun, cause I got some ideas for some full length animated feature films that I think people will really enjoy. So fun stuff coming in the future, definitely. Um, so let me see. Oh, sorry, I made a mistake there. I hope this angle isn't there. I'm trying to tip it up just a little bit. I hope this angle isn't kind of funky for you guys, because I know it's like a little screen within a screen, but um, I I can't really do anything about it, unfortunately. If I had fancy screen capture stuff, I'd use that. But at the moment, I'm having to do this kind of janky, just pointing my tablet at my computer screen so I can just sort of film what I'm doing here. So please forgive the poor picture. Um, all right, so we're coming to the end of this little guy. Just got to do his tail, and then we'll have another frame down the pipe. So really, once it gets to this point with animation, oh, hold on just a minute. Oh crap. Okay, there, I got the comic book up. Just gonna pop in the chat really quick. Hope your animation turns out good, and may the force be with you. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. This is going to be a big project to finish, but it's going to be very rewarding to see it all completed. Thanks for dropping by. Um, I really appreciate it. So anybody out there just joining, I know this is kind of an impromptu thing. I just thought I'd drop on here real quick because I didn't really have anything else to do today. Um, I was going to be working on these frames anyway. Oh, I didn't close up his nose right. Hold on. I figured since I was going to be working on these frames anyway, I might as well show you guys what I'm working on. Just give you a little look behind the scenes because I always like doing that. I like showing you guys what I'm working on because I don't know. I feel like it can help build trust, particularly if you're asking for support from people to actually show them that, yes, I really am doing this. We're not just hyping this up. We are doing the work. We're putting in the time, and this is actually happening. So, um, and I just thought you guys might find it interesting seeing some of these frames slowly come together. So there we go. All right. So we've been going for about 12 minutes now, and I've finished like about three images. Now I can go a little faster when I'm not having to think about talking, and I apologize if it seems like I'm just kind of speed talking nonsense, but I figured it would be way too boring if I was just sitting here silently sketching away. Now, if you're interested in doing digital artwork, something you may have run into that's kind of a problem for you is what they call ice skating. And what that is that's when you're trying to draw with your pen tablet and your pen just kind of glides over the surface and it feels unnatural to how you're used to drawing on paper and you have a hard time keeping your lines right. Well, a little trick you can use, as long as you're not using a fancier tablet that actually has a screen, if you're just using a little standard Wacom tablet that I've got, like the black uh, drawing pad tablet, um, put a piece of printer paper down over your drawing tablet first. Your pen's signal will still make it through the paper. And as you can see, it still comes down and I can still draw on the computer with it. But what it's doing is it's giving me that little bit of a cushion, so it takes away some of the hand fatigue of drawing on the plastic tablet, since they don't have any give. It's almost like playing an electric drum set. Um, the pads don't have any give, so it kind of hurts your fingers after a while. Drawing tablets are the same way. They don't have the same give and spring that paper has. So after a while, it can kind of hurt your hands, especially if you're kind of stressing about your line work to get it just right. So putting down a piece of paper not only helps you have that sense of, I guess, that cushion that you're used to when you're used to drawing on paper, but it also gives you just a little bit of drag on your pen that makes drawing feel way more natural. And you don't have to deal with that ice skating feeling of just kind of gliding over um, over the tablet surface. So you actually end up with a little bit more control over your pen that way. So all that to say, if you're interested in doing drawing or animation on a tablet, but you're having trouble with controlling your pen, that may help you. So give it a try. Now right here you can see he's kind of elongating right now, and that's because he's mid-jump. He's hopping down across the branch to try to get to where he's going so he can get a good little sniff of the pie that's cooling in the windowsill. So I've really pushed this little elongated shape right here to kind of make him feel kind of squishy, because I wanted him to feel cute and chubby and squishy. So don't be afraid to kind of stretch your characters out a little bit and kind of reshape them while you're animating. Because if you keep your character perfectly symmetrical and formed, he's not going to have any personality to him when he moves, unfortunately. It's going to make him look really stiff, or her, if you're animating a girl character. But, yeah, once we get this tail done, that's the hard thing for me about drawing on the computer sometimes, is getting these curves just right. I'm going to make his tail a little bit more fluffy, too, coming out there. That way it looks more like a little squirrel. Alright. Let's get this switched over and start coloring it in. So I know this might feel a little bit monotonous, seeing me do the same thing over and over and over again with the coloring and the inking. But this is, you want to be an animator, this is the job. This is what you do. You sit here for hours on end, and but what you end up with is something pretty special when it all plays back. I'm gonna hit play on this in a second. He'll be colored for, like, you know, just moments before it goes back, but I just want to show people who might be joining in first time here the motion of what's going on, so you can see that it's, you know, worth looking at, worth sticking around for. So hold on just a minute. Also, it's a nice thing to do yourself when you're animating, is go back to the start and replay your animation just so you can see a little bit of progress, because when you're sitting there doing this for hours at a time, it can feel very tedious. So let me get my brush set back up, and then we'll hit play. It's got to buffer for a second. For a little bit. And the software I'm using here is called Krita, and it's a completely free software. Oop, we got a little guy stuck there. I forgot to make a new frame. So, there we go. Now he'll be gone. Just buffering this real quick. I don't think we'll go very long today. I'm looking forward to animating the second little guy, because he's cute. I mean, both of them are cute, but going with the whole Chip and Dale vibe with them. Dale was always my favorite when I was a little kid, because he was, you know, he was a little bit funnier. They usually gave the comedy bits to Dale. So these guys are meant to be a very strong homage to those two. Like, I'm not hiding it, trying to act like, hey, no one has ever drawn cute little fuzzy animals like this before. It's like, I wanted to pay my respects to that and tip my hat to it, because they were such great little iconic characters. And the main thing we want to do with this little short film is we want to bring people back to feeling like they're a kid again watching this. We want them to enjoy it and feel the same stuff they felt when they were little, watching these old cartoons that they used to love so much. And so even though these guys, they're barely in it, this is pretty much all they're in. I think they pop up one more time extremely briefly, right towards the end. So if you're watching the movie for these little guys, you might be a little disappointed because they're not in it much. But the story's not about them. It's about the farmers and the scarecrow. I just wanted to put them in just to add just a little touch of, uh, just a little touch of adorableness in there, that would give it a kind of a wholesome, old-fashioned feel and bring back memories for people. Because so many people grow up with these cartoons, and um, if you can get a feeling of the familiar to kind of bring people back to when they were a kid, it can kind of remind them of happier times in their life, and that's what we just want to do with this. We want to make people happy and give them just a warm, cozy feeling with this animation. So, just putting a little bit more detail in his little hands here. Because that's another thing you do during the final inking process is you find little places where it's like, okay, I was just in a hurry when I did that detail, but now that I'm inking it, doing like a final line, it needs to look a little better than that. Or right here, you can see this finger is kind of going off forward when probably it should go up more to make the middle finger stick out more, and then now this one comes down. Just splaying the fingers a little bit more to give it more personality. Anytime you can push the design like that, it's a good call. So, all right. Now we got his back. Oops. But yeah, all the music and all the voices that we're doing is very carefully done to try to evoke like a classic kind of vibe. Um, and I've been listening to a lot of old Disney soundtracks, trying to kind of get my head around the way they wrote the music back then, because it has such a signature vibe to it, and a tone that really music doesn't seem to have in projects lately. And something I've noticed is there's a whole lot of harp, a lot of Celeste going on. That's like kind of chiming bells. Um, and that really gives this kind of sparkly, magical tone to the music, and it helps it sound lighthearted and fun and happy. Um, I don't know if you can hear that. That's the pipes rattling in my house. Uh, so hopefully nothing's going on there. But yeah, just all of the music and everything is being very carefully done to try to have as much of an old-fashioned vibe as we can. Um, because I miss old-fashioned stuff. I think it's I think there's a place for tradition, and it's not a bad thing to have something that feels old-fashioned. Everyone obsesses with stuff being new these days, and it's like, yeah, new is cool, but you don't have to throw away what's good from the past to move forward and have fun new stuff as well. I think there's a place for both, and that's what we're trying to achieve with this. So, when I was little, I had a Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers comic book, and I used to draw Chip and Dale out of those all the time. So it's kind of a weird feeling going back and drawing these little squirrel characters in this classic style because squirrels and chipmunks are very, very much alike, at least in terms of how you draw them. In real life, they're quite a bit different from each other. But in cartoons, the difference between a squirrel and a chipmunk is usually one just has a big fuzzy tail and one doesn't. And then they're colored differently. So, but they're very, very fun to draw, very cute. And as you can see here, I'm kind of squishing his head like this because he just landed. And what that's going to do is um, that's going to make him look like he springs when he gets up after this little jump. Uh, it creates what they call squash and stretch. It's a principle of animation that kind of makes characters feel more alive. It makes them funny and pliable, makes them squishy and cute, and it lends greater emphasis to moments of extreme action because the character kind of morphs and squishes down into their actions rather than just kind of staying uh, totally perfect. You can see here with that finishing line, I had to draw his whole thumb and everything because I hadn't really finished him completely. And right here, I need to kind of fix his little belly there and the arch of his back and legs. Because sometimes when you're going quickly, when you're doing your pencil pass, it's like you're getting the basic shape down, but some of the finer details, um, they're not quite the right shape. So when you're coming in later, it can be a good thing to sort of fix some of those little problems that you can see. There we go. His tail's kind of curling under him just so it can have a nice little unfurling when he takes his next jump, because that'll make it look more. Again, it just adds some visual interest to the animation and makes it look more alive. So here we go. Just the same old thing of coloring in the eyes and the tongue, little pink in the ears. Oops, I missed that. There we go. Okay, let's get his face and his little belly. Oop, I didn't close that off enough. Hold on 1 minute here. Let's get this closed off. There we go. You may be wondering why the background is this tan color instead of white. Um, and really, the reason I do that is because staring at a brilliantly white computer screen for hours on end, um, that really, really creates eye fatigue after a long time, and it hurts your eyes big time. Makes all the blood vessels start popping in your eyes, and your eyes start watering. I know this because I used to animate with a white screen behind me, and just staring at that for a long time is very bad for your eyes. So I've started putting this kind of cream color behind it because it's a bit more gentle, and it doesn't burn your eyes up quite as much. You still want to take breaks, and you still want to be careful how intently you're looking at the screen, um, because you don't want to hurt your eyes. But it's way better than the white. So again, another tip: if you want to do drawing or animation on the computer, consider doing an off-white canvas behind what you're drawing, because it'll really help save your eyes in the long run when you're spending hours on a piece of art. Okay. For anyone just joining, um, I am David Overholt. I am working with Jamie Costa on a fun little animated short called The First Scarecrow, and it tells the story of some farmers that build the first scarecrow ever in the Middle Ages, kind of medieval Europe. Um, and what I'm drawing right now is just a little character that he's not in it very much. He's in it for just a couple little moments here. He's a little squirrel, and he's got a buddy that's gonna hop down in a minute from the tree, and they smell a pie cooling in a window in this particular sequence, and they want to get their grubby little hands on it because they're hungry. Um, kind of they're very much like Chippendale, and they're intended to be. Um, and they're a lot of fun to draw. They're very cute. They weren't originally going to be in the thing at all, really. I just kind of played around with some sound on a whim, using the trick that they used to do where you talk slowly. Oh, greetings! Gray cloudy day. Good to see you, buddy. I'm glad you like it. This is very fun to work on because it's hard to be in a bad mood when you're working on something that feels so close to what you loved when you were a kid. It kind of brings you back to when you were a munchkin, just enjoying Donald Duck and Chip and Dale cartoons. And but yeah, these little guys, they're gonna hop down and they want to get a piece of that pie that's cooling in the windowsill. But then one of them notices the sleeping cat, Leopold, uh, on a rug, and they decide maybe it's a good idea not to hop in there after the pie. So, just really a moment of pointless cuteness to give me an excuse to draw some cute, fuzzy Disney style animals, just to give the whole piece an innocent, cute quality. Because more than anything, that's what we want this to have. We want people to have fun watching this, and we want it to be something that people can watch with their kids or their grandkids. If you're a fan of animation, you can watch it yourself, but we want it to be something that families can sit down and watch. And there's nothing scary in it. There's nothing offensive in it. It's just good old fashioned, a cute, a cute little short fairy tale. Um, so I think people are gonna like it when it's done. I'm just gonna have to pull some long hours to get these little guys drawn so it can get done. So, but yeah, this has been one of many exciting projects that me and Jamie have uh, talked about and come up with during our chats that we've been having, and I can't wait for you guys to see the stuff that we're coming up with because it's gonna be cool. I'm doing a bad job closing up these lines on these ones, huh? Let me go in and do this. Now, I know he looks a little pixelized right here when it's all zoomed in like this, but that's just because this is a very small illustration. If I zoomed out to the full size of this thing, you'd see that it's actually it's a pretty big image. So that may have been it. I gotta look around here and find the place. Yeah, I think that was the culprit. There you go. Okay. So let's make a new frame just to get it going. And then I'll scrub through this and play it. Now he'll be in color for like 5 seconds, and then he'll go back to being a black and white pencil sketch. But it's just fun to go back and watch it once you've gotten a couple done, because you start to get an idea of how this is going to look when you see those first little frames pop by. And of course, the background is going to be all, painted and done up nice. I'm still trying to decide what color this little second squirrel is, because he may be gray, but I may make him a red squirrel just so he looks a little different from the first guy. That might be cute. So we'll see once we get to him what color he ends up being. But yeah, let's get back to inking our little guy. I don't know why my mouse is being all funky. It's not wanting to let me do stuff. Okay, there we go. Okay. Oh yeah, definitely. Someone just said that it takes a lot of work for just a few seconds on screen. It's so time consuming to do this, and I'm even cheating a little bit because classic Disney animation, they did full 24 frames a second animation. Um, and I do 24 frames a second from time to time, but where I can, I kind of cheat things, and I kind of vacillate between 24 frames a second and animating on twos, as they say, which that's kind of like instead of like a new drawing every frame, animating on twos is making a new drawing every 2 frames. So what you end up with there is something that, if you do it right, kind of picking and choosing when you're going to do animation on every frame and animation on twos, you can get a pretty smooth looking thing, but then save yourself a bit of time. Um, I do full 24 frames a second for the entire thing, um, but that would just take forever since I'm the only guy animating this. But yeah, I watched those old behind the scenes Disney special features things as well, and I loved seeing how they made all that stuff. How they did the multiplane camera a long time ago. Actually, the multiplane camera concept that Disney pioneered in hand-drawn animation way back in like the 30s and 40s. Um, I still use that trick for a lot of my digital compositing effects that I do to this very day because I watched that old Disney featurette. Um, it's a way to cheat depth in your image, um, when you don't have the money or time to work up like a full like real 3-dimensional background. So watching those old special features on Disney stuff of how they did Bambi and Lady and the Tramp and all those old great movies, that really helped me when I was doing my special effects stuff for Star Wars Fallen Jedi, because uh, I thought about every shot like an animator because I was doing a lot of compositing and digital environment stuff. So it comes in handy to watch uh, old special features stuff, even on animation. Even if you're like a live action filmmaker, doing stuff, watching the special features on animation can really help you think of problem solving in an interesting way where some people might think, oh crap, we can't make that because we'd have to spend like $1 million building some big digital environment or whatever. But like, if you get a nice enough image and you plan things right, you can use the old matte painting tricks that they used to use a long time ago, and you can achieve something for you know much cheaper, and it still looks good. So here, let me. I agree. Hey, good to see you again, buddy. Salem LeBlanc. I haven't seen you in a long time. I hope you're doing well. Um, but yeah, I miss DVD special features. Um, I've said it before many, many times on the channel, um, that that was my version of film school, watching the behind the scenes stuff on movies, because it showed me how they did stuff. And even if there was a trick that was like, well, I can't do that, but I can do this and it'll be similar. Yeah, I'm doing well. I'm trying to stay warm. It's about 11 degrees where I am. We just had this big Arctic blast blow through. Um, we don't usually get we don't usually get snow where I live, but like we've been getting a ton of snow this year. Some weather patterns must have changed or something. It's crazy. I don't mind the snow. I mean, I kind of like it to a degree, but at the same time, it's kind of like after Christmas, you're almost like, okay, if this snow could have been here at Christmas time, this would be nice. But now that Christmas is done, it would be nice to not have quite so much Arctic temperatures. How much snow do you guys get around where you are, Salem? Pretty much anything is more than usual for where I am. But yeah, we had like a weather advisory just yesterday where they were telling people like don't even go anywhere because it was like if your car breaks down, it was so cold that they were like you if your car breaks down and you don't have any heat going, like you could die in your car. So it was like, man, I'm just gonna stay inside then and work on some animation. But yeah, this is the big process. It's not like super glamorous, obviously, making something this way because it's kind of solitary. You're just sort of sitting there, clicking away, doing coloring. Um, but if you don't mind the monotony of it, it can be kind of relaxing as well. Normally, I have music going to kind of think about think about that instead of how long I've been sitting here uh, drawing the same little squirrel over and over and over again. Um, Let me back this up for you, Salem, since I think you just got here, right? And I'll let you see what the animation looks like so you can see what I'm working on here. Oh man, that is a ton of snow. That's crazy. Okay, so this is what we're working with so far. Very Chippendale esque, old school Disney style. And then when they freeze like that, that's going to cut to a different shot of a cat sleeping on a rug. So yeah, so these little guys, they see a pie. I don't know if you can tell, but that's what that is right there. It'll be more obvious when it's all finished and everything, but this is a pie that's kind of cooling in a windowsill. I'm probably gonna have some steam kind of animating on it, and they're hopping by because they smelled it and they want a piece of it. So, but yeah, it takes a long time to get this stuff going because you gotta just draw these guys a million times. Oops, I'm on the wrong layer. Hold on. There's nothing more frustrating than that when you're working on when you're when you get like a whole character drawn and then you're like, oh crap, I was on the wrong layer the whole time. It's such a horrible feeling. I've done that where I did like I think it was I did final line work on like 10 frames of animation once. Not for this project, but for something else that I was working on. Um, 10 whole frames, which that doesn't sound like a lot, but I've been here for like almost 45 minutes and I've drawn only a few of these frames, so you can see how long, you can imagine how long 10 whole frames of animation would take. I just saw a message pop up and then go off. I caught it out of the corner of my eye. Someone saying that it warms their heart seeing classic 2D animation, and I'm glad because I really really want people to feel happy seeing this. Um, and I want them to feel like a kid again, basically, when they're watching this, because there's something special about a hand drawn animation to me because there's so much personality that goes into it. Um, CG and stuff like that. It's like I used to do computer animation when I was younger, so I'm not knocking it by any means, and I know how much artistry and work goes into it. So I'm not saying that that stuff is bad. There's just something special to me about hand drawn stuff because it's more tactile, you know. I wish I could be doing this like on paper to take it even a step further, but I just don't have the resources for that. So drawing digital is the best way to go for me for right now. Um, but maybe someday we'll get there where we can have the resources for all that to do like a full scale thing. Because me and Jamie, we've been talking some big projects, and we got a lot of stuff to you guys, and it's gonna be cool stuff. So stay tuned. Um, for those of you who don't know, um, me and Jamie Costa have been doing a podcast on his channel lately for the past few weeks called the Big Kid Energy Podcast, where uh, we talk about movies and things that inspire us from when we were young. Um, we just talked about Don Bluth films last time, and it was a lot of fun. So, so you can catch that over on his channel. We're planning to kind of move it into a new direction where we're gonna be doing it on Spotify as soon as we can get that figured out. But he's not super tech savvy, and I'm even worse. So, um, getting my videos up on YouTube and all my video editing stuff, that's about as tech savvy as I get. I'm pretty bad with uh, modern technology. I'm kind of an old geezer, but I'll take that line out. There we go. All right, so let's move on to the back here. But yeah, there's so much personality to hand drawn animation. I think because one of the things I love about hand drawn animation is that you can see the style of the artist who drew each frame. Um, Now, people that are in the animation industry, they said that they can recognize even who did some animation when it comes to CG stuff because they notice little bits of body language and everything. But to to anyone outside of the industry who doesn't know the person, there's not as much of that. And but you can understand, you can see the drawing style of someone doing 2D animation. Because like when Gendy Tartakovsky makes a cartoon, you know it's his. When Milt Kahl, old Disney animator, when he animated something, you knew it was Milt Kahl. He was my favorite Disney animator, and you can recognize his work by if you ever notice in movies like Robin Hood or Jungle Book, whenever characters have this like little head wobble that they do while they're talking, um, that's Milt Kahl. It's difficult to get right. It's a little animation flourish that is essentially him just showing off. that that he's one of the best. And I've been watching his stuff frame by frame, trying to understand the timing of that little head wobble that he does, because I'd love to get a little bit of that Milt Call vibe into some of my animation. Um, but yeah, exactly. It's Cloudy Gray said like a signature. It really is a signature of his work and his style, and it gives so much personality. So I don't know what my particular style would be, because currently with this, you know, I'm copying the look of classic Disney style stuff. So this really isn't this really isn't me per se. It's kind of it's almost like an impression, a visual impression, where I'm trying to get as close to Disney animation as I can. Um, but who knows? Maybe someday I'll find a style that's all uniquely mine. That would be a lot of fun, because that's the difference between hand drawn animation and computer generated stuff. Because you know a Don Bluth movie when you see it. You know his stuff. It looks so good, but it also was unlike any other animation. His stuff didn't look like Disney, even though he was a former Disney animator. He had his own vibe that all of his movies carried. It's one of his. I don't know why I'm having so much trouble with this little guy's face here. That's the funny thing with drawing on the computer, is like sometimes it's really smooth. Um, oh, thank you, Salem. He said that I'm doing the Disney style better than what Disney's doing currently, because yeah, they have really kind of gone far afield of what they used to do, and I'm hoping maybe that some of that classic Disney style will come back someday. Um, Time will only tell, I guess. Um, but yeah, uh, this is just kind of like a love letter to all the stuff that I used to watch when I was a kid from Disney, and all the great memories I have from watching that stuff. Um, and I'm hoping it can inspire people too, that if they're animators or artists, to look back at the stuff that they loved when they were younger, and you know just take a crack at it yourself. It's I come back to this so many times, especially when I'm talking with Jamie, where C.S. Lewis and J.R.R. Tolkien, they were frustrated because no one was writing the stories that they wanted to read. So then they just decided, well, if no one's writing the stories we want to read, I guess we'll just have to write them ourselves and read each other's stories. so so that's kind of the approach that we're taking. It's like, if no one's making the little animated stuff and films that we want to see, um, we're pulling a Thanos. Fine, I'll do it myself. And it may not be on quite on the same level as what a big major studio can do, but I feel like if the heart is there, um, that's the important thing, is having the heart there, because people feel that, I think, even if every line isn't perfect, or even if with your live action project, if your production value isn't quite as big as, say, a big massive studio or whatever, or if you're working on a video game, if it's not quite as big as a AAA title, people aren't going to care as much, as long as they can feel the passion behind it, I think. Because unfortunately, a lot of these bigger studios, they're not really putting out the kind of stuff they used to. So yeah, yeah. Salem just said that, like, a lot of the modern stuff is feeling very soulless from big studios, and that's true. Um, I think that's another thing that is uh, is important about hand-drawn animation. It's got a definite heart and soul to it that um, you can't fake it. You know, it's like you got to really put everything you have into these little things, and you can't take shortcuts. As much as I would love to be able to have some shortcuts, I say as I'm talking about heart and soul of things, certain amounts of shortcuts would be nice. Um, like for instance, if there was some kind of tool that would help expedite this inking and coloring process, that would be amazing. Um, with all the terrible things that AI is used for, I honestly kind of wish that um, maybe there's a way to kind of speed up the coloring process by maybe putting in an image that you have generated that shows what the character is supposed to be colored like, and then the computer kind of does the uh, time-consuming work of just like, okay, just color it for me, and then I'll get back to putting the heart and soul into the animation. I think that would be a cool and ethical use of AI with artwork. But unfortunately, a lot of AI art is just kind of computerized, generating stuff based off of other people's artwork, and I don't, that's not okay. Um, but there we go. Okay, these are the awkward little frames right here when he's standing up. It's like he's got kind of a weird little scrunchy face, and his face is kind of mushed. But you run into that when you're animating. You see these funny little faces. If you want a good laugh, go back through some classic Disney cartoons and pause it when characters are in the middle of turning around and talking and doing things. You get some really really funny expressions, um, especially from like the Disney princesses who are supposed to look so perfect and beautiful when they're in the middle of doing a big surprise turn and their face is all mushed and funny. It's very comical. That's what this little guy is doing right here. He's in the middle of standing up. He's got a little scrunchy face. It looks kind of cute though, I think. Sorry, I don't know if you can hear that. My cat's kind of freaking out. She hears something. I think we might have uh, a squirrel or something hiding in up in the attic. Ironic since I'm drawing the squirrels, but because it's so cold, she keeps hearing something kind of scratching around in there, and she's frustrated because she can't get it. There we go. Um, you know, Salem just asked, when's the cat gonna make an appearance in my cartoons? I guess we do have a little cat in this for 5 seconds. He the cat ends up. I don't want to give anything away too much, but we have a little funny sequence where someone trips over the sleeping cat at one point. One of the characters, because he tries to get the pie away from the window so the little squirrels can't get it. Um, but then someone kicks open the front door and startles the cat, wakes the cat up. The little cat's tail fluffs out, and the cat gets in the way, gets underfoot, just like cats always do, causing a bit of mayhem. And it's a funny little sequence. But yeah, I gotta put my cat into one of these because this particular cat, he's gonna be like an old gray, worn out cat. Like his best days as a mouser are far, far behind him, obviously. Um, because I thought it would be funnier if these little guys are afraid. It's like, ooh, it's a cat. We gotta be careful. But it's really like, well, you guys don't have to worry much about this particular cat because he's just sleepy. He's not gonna really chase you. But then, of course, uh, he uh, he makes trouble for Edgar when he's carrying the pie, because he might not catch mice anymore, but he gets in the way like a cat always does. Because something about cats, they always want to get right under your feet when you're trying to go somewhere, particularly when you're in a hurry. Um, I think it's probably because they're like a funny little social animal. They get all curious about where you're going, and they don't want you to leave them behind, so they try to dart in front of you to be like, "Hey, hey, I'm part of this too," you know. My cat seems to do that anyway, and it makes it very hard not to trip over her a lot. I actually have a few times, but those are the joys of being a pet owner, I guess. I'm gonna go back to the line correction tool for this. If you're noticing, every once in a while, when I have a line that I draw and then I delete it and then do it again, it's because that's one of the things that's kind of cool about Krita, is they have this tool that helps you correct your line. It makes it a bit smoother. So if you're just really having trouble getting a line to work, uh, this tool kind of smooths it for you. The problem is it's trying to figure out how you want the line smoothed out. So every once in a while, it'll kind of twist it and curve it off in the wrong direction, and then it just kind of is a pain in the butt. So I kind of go back and forth with the tool if I just can't get a line straight. Um, I could do it easy on paper, but drawing on a tablet is a bit harder for me than drawing on paper because it's like there's a degree of separation from it. Not quite as immediate. There's a little bit of a lag, and you don't have quite as much control over your pen. At least not on the tablet I have. I'm sure fancier tablets are nicer, but I'm just working with what I got here. I could just color in that little finger by hand. I think that's probably the best way. Alright, here. There we go. And this one is, I was going to say done, but I forgot I need to color in his ears real quick. There we go. Now he looks very sleepy because he's in the middle of turning and blinking, so he looks kind of funny. Let's go back one more time, and oh no, I messed up my layout here. What is going on? Oops. Hold on, my computer's freaking out on me. Hold on. Okay, let's play this back now. Okay, it's playing a little choppy. I think my computer is running a bit rough because it's not used to having to do all this stuff. Um, Let me save it real quick. Before we go any further, because it seems like it's, let's see if it plays better. Well, it's still choppy. Don't worry about the sound. I just turned the sound down a bit so it wouldn't be doing anything weird. So I don't know what's going on with my layout here because I accidentally... There we go. Maybe that was it. Maybe I accidentally moved the layer down. Oh, okay, yeah. Now it's playing good again. Okay. It just didn't know what to do because I was half moving the Dockers and I didn't know. I don't like that about digital art stuff, these softwares, how you can move your tools all around. I wish if there's a way that anybody knows to kind of like make it to where you can select it and then keep your tools where you put them to where you can't move them around by accident. That would be great to know because that would be good for me because I always am accidentally grabbing my tools and then I lose them and I have no way to find them again. I feel like an ent. It's like I have lost them and I cannot find them. But yeah. Salem, you just asked if the background needs anything or if it's going to be a still image. Um, I'm going to see exactly what I'm going to do with the background um, once it gets down to the final version. I know I'm going to have some steam coming up off the pie to show that it's nice and warm. I may I might have the leaves kind of moving in the trees. I don't know. I'm not 100% sure. I'm still deciding the level of complexity I'm going to do with some of this stuff. Because one thing we really wanted to do was make it feel more like a classic um, animated film, and old school stuff was usually just like a painted background. There wasn't usually a whole lot of really dynamic things going on with the environments. But I'll see what it looks like, and if it's just too boring looking, I'll probably do something more special with the background. Um, but at the moment, the plan is to probably just have it be a basic painted background, and then we'll just animate the steam for the pie. Other shots will be um, a little bit more involved than this. I just wanted people to really be zeroed in on these little guys. Oops, I'm having a hard time drawing that little. There, that's better. I'll have to fix that with an eraser in a second. But yeah, I could have been my first concept was I was gonna animate a little bit with the old guy Edgar today, but I thought, well, people might get tired of watching me animate the same old guy with a mustache a whole lot. I thought since these little squirrels move around a whole bunch, people might have more fun watching that. But let me know if you guys want to see more of these little animation things. Just let me know. I don't know how many people are watching. Um, I would guess probably not that many, just because I don't usually do live streams, so I know it's not something that people are used to trying to tune in for. With my channel, I'm more of a weekly video kind of guy just because of my upload schedule. Um, but if people like this, I might start doing it more often. I tried doing weekly live streams a while back, and it was kind of splitting my view counts because I had a lot of people that were only tuning in for live streams, and then other people that were only tuning in for my weekly videos. So it was kind of messing with my analytics a bit. Um, oh yeah, yeah, Salem, you're absolutely right. They really do get the most out of that. He was saying, for anyone watching this in playback who can't see the message board popping up, he was saying that Disney does so much, like they used to do so much with just like a couple little jagged lines to indicate fur. and it's really crazy how much you can hint at with just a couple of lines to give all kinds of personality to a character. There we go. So we're gonna see how much further I'm gonna go with this. I've been going for about an hour and 10 minutes now. Um, I don't know how much more you guys want to see. I don't want to outstay my welcome because this is just to show you guys the process. Um, get a look behind the curtain so you can see what all goes into this kind of stuff, so you can understand why it's taking me a while. Because you know, I know it's hard when someone promises a project and then it's like, okay, well, I haven't seen anything about this in a long time. Are you still even doing it? You know, particularly if you've supported it in any way. That's really rough when you've supported a project and then uh, there's just nothing on it, and it seems like, did the project just die? Like, are they still even making this? Um, for example, the Monster Hunter movie that I'm working on, we're still working on that. I just got a lot of irons in the fire at the moment because we've been having such crazy weather this year. Um, just about every time we try to go out there to film, uh, we have some big unexpected like rain, or now we've been having all this snow that's taking it's making the ground get all muddy, and it's taking forever for it to dry up so we can film outside because we're filming a big sword fight. Last time we were out there, me and my buddy were sword fighting, doing a doing a sequence, and I took a bad step in the mud and I partially dislocated my hip. So now I'm having to wait for that to kind of heal up and for all this snow to melt and then for the ground to dry off so we can get back out there and film some more sword fighting and hopefully not injure myself this time. Um, Starting to feel a bit like Obi-Wan of like, I'm getting too old for this sort of thing. Um, so yeah, this may be one of my last big uh, action roles. I don't know. I say that, but like I'll probably think of some other story that I'm like, ooh, this would be really fun to make, and then just do that in a couple years after we're done with this one because I'm stupid that way, and I keep forgetting that I'm not 17 anymore. Because really, none of my interests have changed as far as storytelling and the projects I'm wanting to work on since I was 17. I was wanting to make all this same stuff when I was that age. And it's like now the difference is I finally have the tools available to me to achieve some of those old dreams. Um, so there's a lesson in that. Oh, that's dumb. I thought I was done. I just finished his head. Okay, but yeah, there's a lesson in that of if you guys if you got a dream and you want to make stuff, just hold on to it because it might take a while, it might take a few years, um, but keep trying until stuff works its way out to where you can finally do some of this stuff. Because I've been drawing and wanting to make a cartoon since I was like 4, you know, um, literally. I remember being a little kid pausing VHS tapes of Disney cartoons so I could learn to draw characters, and I always wanted to make my own cartoon. And now here I am. What would that be? I'm not good with math. That would be like 34 years later. Now I'm finally doing it, you know. Um, so don't give up. And there's so much great free software out there that you can use to try to, make some of your dreams happen. Um, just takes some time and effort. The beauty of animation too is you don't have to worry about having a big cast because if you can draw them, they can be in your movie. The only downside is you have to draw all of them. I say that, but like, it is fun drawing little characters and seeing them come to life. It's a very very fun thing. Um, it is time consuming though. That's the only problem. But there really is something that's just magical about it when something that you've just dreamed up in your head starts moving around and you can see it, and he feels like a little character all of a sudden. He's not just a stiff drawing. He's got a personality with how he moves, and especially when you hear a voice coming out of him, um, it's just there's no other feeling quite like it. And with these little chipmunks, it was a lot of fun too because I used to watch all kinds of old documentaries on stuff, and I saw how they did the old Chippendale voices, and it's the same trick they use with Alvin and the Chipmunks. People would talk slowly in a recording, and they were using records at that point. So then they would play the record at a high speed to get their high pitched little chipmunk voice. So I thought, well, hey, I'm not using records, but like if I um, record myself really slow, I can still speed them up to get that authentic Alvin and the Chipmunks and Chip and Dale kind of voice. So that's what I did. I just talked really slow with both of these little guys. And if you'll notice, the way I pronounce things is very old fashioned because I thought that would help make it sound more like a real old thing. I'm going to watch it back one more time, real quick. Stuff like that is like there's like a little music to the voices. Um, that's another thing I was very very specific with. Um, that kind of half for you and half for me, that kind of thing. It's like it's kind of a funny way of talking that you're not doing just like a normal bland line read. You're giving kind of like a little musical quality to the voice, and that's what helps it feel old fashioned, and it's very very exciting when I finally got the timing right when I listened back to it because it's like, okay, this works. This is feeling like a little bit of uh, felt like a little bit of a time warp actually because I felt like I was hearing a Chip and Dale cartoon for the first time that I'd never seen. Oh yeah, yeah. The final expression is like it's such a fun little uh, face. The part where he's pointing at the cat off screen, um, that's where I feel like is the best animation of this whole point. Um, I'm not saying that to like pat myself on the back. Something about it like I really tapped into something a lot more with that little bit that I wish like all of this looked quite as smooth as that. Um, I love that little part because let me scrub forward to that section. Hold on, let me turn this layer off. His sniff looks really cute too, and it's only 2 frames really. You kind of like to do a quick little squirrel sniff. It's like it's 2 frames you keep repeating over and over again, and it just looks cute. Um, the other part of the animation that I really love is the part where, let me see, where is it? Let me mute it so you're not hearing him jabber. It's when he grabs him by the tail and yanks him back. There's a lot of personality to that little part. And the yipe, that's the other thing. That looks so perfectly like old school Disney. Just that little face and the animation when he goes yipe. It's such a simple little thing because you go from this, he's down, all squished, and then he just hops into a real stretched yipe, and then his feet come up off the ground with a little bit of dust, and then he lands, looking a little awkward, and then he has his hand on his head because he's scared. Blinks, looks over, reaches out for his little buddy's tail as he's just leaping for the pie. Got the moment of impact. And he yanks him back. And just that one little frame of like looking straight at the camera is so cute. And then there's his like, watch it, stupid. And then gonk. Again, I made his little feet come up off the ground when he hits. So he kind of does a little hop into it. And then, ooh, now he's all confused. And then he goes over to him, blinks into the movement. Boink, boink, boink. It's like it just makes such personality to it, and that's the part I'm the most proud of this whole thing because like it looks so much like what I was trying to go for, which was that just really cute old Disney vibe. And the funny thing is, I didn't watch any Chip and Dale stuff like in slow motion to break down how they animated these guys back then. I did that on Merlin in Sword in the Stone for the old guy, so I could know what to do with his mustache when he's talking. But for these little chipmunks, I don't know, something clicked where I guess watching all those old Donald Duck and Chip and Dale cartoons when I was a kid, and then also watching Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers when I was little, because that show was brand new when I was a kid. Um, I watched that so much. I guess it just kind of got ingrained into my head how to make these little guys move, and so for me, that's been a really fun part about animating these little guys. Yeah, you now that you mentioned that of like having it feel old fashioned because he says "watch it, stupid" to the guy. It's like I didn't even think about that they don't have characters talk like that anymore. Um, but it just seemed like such a Chip and Dale moment to have him say that and clunk the little guy on the head because that's how Chip always talked to Dale. So hopefully people won't be bothered by that, I guess. But um, oh well. He had the same pants to get glad in. Uh, to borrow an old-fashioned phrase. But yeah, it's very fun doing these little guys. My problem is now I I wish there was more for them to do in this. They show back up like I think one more time towards the end of the short. Um, just to kind of be confused at what the farmers are doing when they're building the scarecrow, because in this story, no one has ever built a scarecrow before. It's if you saw my video from this weekend, um, where I'm talking about this project, you'll see that there's a character named Edgar, and he's like the brains, and he's talking about building the scarecrow. So when they see Edgar and the other guys working on this scarecrow in their backyard, uh, these little squirrels just they're kind of confused and they don't know what they're doing. So they're just kind of they're gonna just kind of scamper out onto a branch just for kind of a little cameo and just be like, "What are they doing? I don't know." And then they're gonna kind of point at them and do the little crazy thing where they kind of twirl your finger around by the side of the head to show like, yeah, that guy's nuts. And then I think it's this little guy. He just says like, that guy's nuts. Let's go. And then they scam just to have some cuteness. Because every once in a while, I feel like people worry too much about. Uh, they worry a little too much about why something is in a story, particularly if it's a short story. Because everyone always worries so much about, well, what does this mean? What is it saying? Meanwhile, it's like, well, sometimes it's just there to be cute. That's all you got to worry about. It's like, is it cute? Sorry about that. I just kind of bumped my screen. Hold on. Let's get that turned around here. Just about fell off. Sorry about that. I've got my tablet on a little holder thing, but it keeps wanting to fall off. I don't know what it's doing. Hold on. Ah! Clearly a very professional show here. All right, anyway. But yeah, I think sometimes you just got to go with like, is it cute? Then yeah, that's it just needs to be cute. And if it's cute and fun to watch, people aren't going to care if if there's much of a reason for these squirrels to show up. Um they're just going to think like, "Well, that was cute." I guess the only downside is potentially people might be like, "Man, I wish they were in it more." Um but we got a bunch of other cute stuff uh with the farmers, and um it's going to be cute. I can't wait for you guys to see what we're cooking up with this one. And what we're doing with some of our other projects as well, because me and Jamie have been talking up a storm lately, and we got some ideas for stuff we're gonna make, and it's gonna be very, very fun. He's a cool guy, very creative, and very generous with his time and with his talent. And I'm very grateful to know him because he's a good friend, as Obi-Wan would say. And in just a short time too, because I haven't been talking to him for very long. But we've kind of had a meeting of the minds, and we both like the same kind of stuff creatively. So it's fun. We hit it off pretty well as far as the kind of things we want to make and how like the kind of entertainment we want to bring people. So it's cool when you can connect with someone like that who has like a shared interest with things. Because this project wouldn't have happened without him, because he's the one who came up with it initially, and it's something I would have never thought of on my own. So that's the cool thing about talking with someone creatively. I've had input on it, but like he's who came up with it originally. So very grateful for that, because now it's given me some fun, cute stuff to work on. And I know I wear the Darth Vader helmet and everything, but um, I guess you'd say there's a soft nougaty center in there because I do like cute, innocent stuff, and I think the world needs more of that these days. There just isn't a whole lot of cute and innocent anymore. There isn't a lot that you can. There's not a lot that you can show your kids and know that okay, there's not going to be something too scary or too whatever in it. Um, so we're doing something that'll hopefully be kind of cross generational, where older people that are like, yeah, that's what it used to be like. They'll get a nice, fun, nostalgic uh, feeling because it feels like something from when they were little, and then parents will know that like, okay, I can let Junior see this, and there won't be anything scary in it. Because in our thing, even though he's a scarecrow, it's not a mean, scary scarecrow. He's a cute little scarecrow, and it's just a fun little cute fable. And I think that's the power of animation is like you can tell very cute, simple stories, and it's like if the animation and the art style works, people aren't too picky about like, well, what was the big point of that? It's like, well, the big point of it was just it's cute. That's the point. Yeah, definitely. Salem just said that Don Bluth had a way of scaring kids in his stuff. His movies, as much as I love them, they were creepy. He had some creepy stuff in his movies from time to time. I've got another project that that'll be down the line once I can get some funding. Let's see, is this guy the same guy? Yeah, I think I can cheat and just copy this keyframe. That's the other thing you got to do every once in a while is bink, just copy some keyframes in there. Because that was the same drawing of him with his eyes half open. And then this would be this one. So that is the nice thing about drawing on the computer is every once in a while you can plop in some stuff that you already drew somewhere else. Okay, but now I got to start adding his little buddy in as well. So now it's going to make the drawings take twice as long because I got to draw two little dudes. So now we got to choose. Um, yeah, yeah. Salem just said, like Don Bluth said, that kids can handle almost anything as long as there's a happy ending. Um, I'm somewhere in the middle on that because I feel like, well, you don't have to scare the crap out of a kid though, just because you can. Um, every once in a while, he went a little heavy-handed with how scary he got. I think myself. Now, a lot of people they just love it, and as much as I loved his movies, I do feel like they could have had a little bit more lightness to them. But I know what he was trying to do. He was trying to show kids that like, you know, you got to be careful in the world because it can be a dangerous place. So there is a good point to that. But oop, I must have left the smoothing on for that. That's why his nose keeps looking whapper jawed. There, that's better. So yeah, I know it's gonna be really hard to know who this little guy was based on. Um, being so cagey with my design inspirations on this one. um, but yeah, I'm not pretending that I'm coming up with anything original here. This whole sequence with these little squirrels, it has it really has nothing to do with the overall story of this animated short. This is strictly just so I can do an homage to my favorite little cartoons from when I was a kid. That's all this is. So before you get your pitchforks, I'm not uh, I'm not trying to rip this off and be like, "Hey, I'm super original with this." The rest of the story is original. These little guys are just like a fun cameo to just be like, "Hey, remember this? Let me give you the feeling of something you really liked when you were a kid." Just to get the audience in that kind of like, "Aw" frame of mind, because we want them to have fun watching something cute. Because the world could use some cuteness, I think. I say this as I'm also working on a Monster Hunter movie where a guy is sword fighting a vampire. But I think there's room for both. You know, there's room for some cool, edgy stuff, but you need some cute stuff too to balance it out. I think. And I mean, Richard Donner, he made Lethal Weapon, the original Superman, and the Goonies, as well as Timeline. So it's like the dude had range. I think filmmakers are put in a box too much lately, where they're like, "Oh well, you can only make this kind of movie because that's what I saw you make first." I'm thinking about making him a red squirrel. I don't know. I think that could be cute. Let me see. Let me see. Maybe a reddish brown? Would that be better? Or does that just make him look too much like Chip and Dale, maybe? What do you guys think? Should he be gray? Should he be a gray squirrel or should he be a red squirrel? What do you guys think? Cuz I could make him like this. That way when he hops down, he's very different from the other guy. It's a little splash of color. Should we go for that? Before you go red? Okay, yeah. All right. Okie dokie. Well, yeah. I'll go red. I'll go red with them because he's a nice little pop of color that way. He'll stand out against the green leaves like really really nice and pretty that way. Oops, I was on the wrong layer. This is the tricky part when you got all these multiple layers now. I'm still on the wrong layer. Okay, never mind. But yeah, we'll do that. We'll make him a red squirrel. I think. Let me see here. How long should I keep going with this, you guys? Do you guys want to stick around for any longer than this? Let me know, because if you do, I can keep going for a little bit longer, or we can wrap it up here. Because I know we've been going for about an hour and 40 minutes now. I'll do this last little frame of him, and then we'll see where we are after that. So we got our red squirrel and our gray squirrel. That's nice thematically because Dale had a red nose, but I'm giving this little guy a black nose. But we're kind of getting that red coloring in him somehow, even with him being a red squirrel here. So it kind of makes him visually different than the other guy, without doing it exactly the same way that they did. Because that's what this is. I mean, this is Squirrel Chip and Dale, basically. Dale was always my favorite when I was a kid. I think I already mentioned that, but if anyone's just hopping in here for the first time, uh, he's the guy that I liked more because he was funnier than Chip. He usually got into more trouble, did little goofy things, and Chip would always bonk him on the head. Which is why I have the little gray squirrel bop this little guy on the head a little bit later, so it would feel authentically old-fashioned. Okay. Do this to show there's like, you're seeing the bottom of their feet there. Alright, this if this looks familiar, this is kind of where we started with the other little guy. Then he'll have to hop down 2 into place, and then he's going to start talking as well. So, but yeah, this gives you an idea of how long this takes, because I've been going for, let's see, it's like an hour and 41 minutes, and I'm not very far into this. I got hundreds of drawings to go, but this is why animation takes so long, because you gotta sit here and draw and color every single frame. It takes a long time because you gotta try to get them just right. But when it's all done, it is very, very satisfying. I hope you guys have enjoyed this little look at what we're working on. Oh, crap. Sorry, he's supposed to be a red squirrel, isn't he? And that is this orange, I believe. Right? Doesn't look quite as bright for some reason. Was it this one that I grabbed? That's weird, I can't quite tell if that's the same orange. Okay, it looks like it is, okay. Sorry about that. You want to be careful not to flicker around with different colors. Okay. Now let's see, next frame is here. Our little gray squirrel, he's just chilling over here with the same expression for a while this little guy has to hop into place. Alright, so to anyone just joining in, I don't think we'll go much longer because this is pretty much what I've been doing the past hour and, what is it, 45 minutes. Just doing these little frames, getting them inked, getting them colored. Because we're making a cartoon. If you want, you can check out my video that I posted. It's my newest video on my channel, where I talk about this project and where it came from. And hold on just a second, let me redo that. I don't want to get sloppy on his face here when he's first coming in, because first impressions are important, aren't they? You don't want him looking like a goober when he first pops in, do we? But yeah, I have a video posted where I talk about what this project is all about. So you might want to check that out. I think you'll find it informative and hopefully inspiring, so you can see the tone that we're going for with this whole thing. And I thank every one of you guys for that tune in to my stuff. Um, it's really inspiring, and it's cool to know that people are interested in what you're working on, even though, you know, I'm not the biggest YouTuber on the platform by any means. Um, it's cool that you guys still get behind me when I'm working on things, and I really, really appreciate that. So thank you guys for watching. Thank you for everyone who tuned in. It's fun seeing you guys in the chat. Let me know. Be sure to leave a comment on this video once the stream is over, because the live chat seems to go away once the videos once the stream is over. So if you guys want me to keep doing these from time to time, just let me know, and I will. I'll do a few more of these, because with the amount of animation that I'm going to be doing for this little project, um, there's the potential for a lot of live streams. I'm not trying to farm content with this or anything. It's just if you guys are interested in seeing this come together and kind of coming along with me as I'm working on this, uh, I'll do more of these just to let you guys see what I'm doing. Because I gotta do all this animation anyway. So it's kind of like no skin off my nose whether it's a live stream or whether I'm doing it all by myself. Um, so on that note, I think we're gonna call it right about there, because we're almost to the 50-minute mark. Okay, let me see what's going on here. I think the first frame, I need to move this little guy. There we go. Okay, now let's run this through, and then we'll be done. Okay, so the color will leave again as always, but here we go. Okay, so there we go. That's what we're doing here. We're just making a little animation happen, and thank you guys for tuning in. Hold on just a second. I'm trying to get this to end. Um, I don't have a lot of tools at my disposal here. So, but thank you guys to everyone who tuned in. Um, thanks, Ronan, for dropping by. Good to see you, buddy. Thanks for checking out the stream. And like I said, just leave a comment after the stream's over in the comment section, so I can know if you guys want to see more of these. And we'll do this again sometime, because I got plenty of animation that I got to finish for this. So you guys take care, and try to stay warm out there, and have a good rest of your night. So we'll see you later.